Mr. Máirtíns. Mr. Muller.
Good morning, Ceann Comhairle. I'll give our friends time to move across. I want to return to some of the topics, Ceann Comhairle, which we tackled earlier today. In brief and in summary, our belief is that we need a more robust attitude and challenge to the cuts juggernaut coming at us from London. It disappoints those of us on this side of the chamber that the other side, our colleagues on the other side of the chamber, are willing to accept willy-nilly the nature of these cuts, the severity of the cuts, that they take it as read, that there should be no resistance, no protest, no demand, no explanation to the British that it's the wrong way forward, that it will not benefit anyone in this community and will not help our economy. We are divided on that approach, and I understand that. Despite that, I think the evidence shows that the ideology of austerity has not been the springboard for the improvement of our economy and will not be in the time ahead. It is well rehearsed in this chamber the amount of money which has been taken from our block grant. At times, some of our colleagues across the chamber are more critical of the British Government with regard to the £1.5 billion taken out of our budget since 2011. They would have the attitude that is done, that there is no merit in saying to the British that needs to be reversed. Well, that is not my attitude at all. It is my view, Ceann Comhairle, that 0.002% of the British budget is the amount equivalent to that £1.5 billion that has been taken out, and yet, of course, it has been a hammer blow to our budgets and has meant real hardship for ordinary people. So I think, first of all, if we want to continue the progress we have made in the last 2 decades, we need to have that grant restored. We need to be able to provide the services that our people are crying out for. But, of course, we're at this particular crisis point because our friends in London, back in power, I was going to refer to the Lib Dem Conservative coalition, of course, but the Conservatives back on their own in power have wasted no time in telling the public and telling us that our lot in the time ahead will be further cuts. We were fresh out of the election when we were told cuts in the region of 30 million will come immediately in year, but we also know that this 25 billion reduction, which has been talked about, that will mean swingeing cuts to our budgets. And at some point, alas, Ceann Comhairle, this all becomes unsustainable. Is it our role as politicians, as civic leaders, as people who have a real stake in this land, in this community, people who are fighting for our neighbours, for our families, for this society, is it our lot to go back to our community time out of number, especially in the years ahead, to say that we have less money, that we will have to continue to cut back, we will have to continue to make a detrimental impact on public services because that is what the British are insisting on? If that is our entire role in politics, then it does place a huge question mark over why we should continue in that matter. I am not here to carry water for English ministers. I believe that if we are masters of our own destiny, if we have the ability to raise from our own people, to raise the resources needed to pay for public service, then we should be allowed to do that. But the British want it both ways. They don't want to allow us that right, except in very restrained circumstances where they say you can have corporation tax powers, but at the same time the income tax raised through the extra jobs, the PAYE raised through the extra jobs, that would go to London only. And so it is with all the other fiscal levers, alas, Ceann Comhairle. Our objective must be in the time ahead to have a response from the entire community right across the board. And last week I met with, as part of a Sinn Féin delegation, with the IOD and with CBI. And it heartened me, alas, Ceann Comhairle, that their attitude is not the attitude of the Tory government, that they don't agree with the Tory government when it says that it's our way or the highway, that they do believe that there is a strong case and a special case to be made for our community as to why we cannot continue to suffer this blizzard of cutbacks. I'm particularly heartened by the CBI's insistence that to inflict further cuts on this society will make it even more difficult for us to do the essential things we need to do if we are going to build the economy, not least to provide jobs to our young people and to make sure that our universities have the ability to turn out the many talented, qualified graduates that industry is calling for. My call today, Alas Concordia, is that as we look to the future, that we have a vision for a society which is fair and prosperous, and I don't believe that is impossible. I do believe that we actually are united right across the chamber in that belief that a fair and prosperous economy is good for everyone, that it is one of the visions that does unite us. At this stage, we are divided because some of us are willing to accept the agenda from London and some of us aren't. It's my feeling that to continue to slash public services, to continue to accept without protest the continued cuts to our budget, that's not the way forward, and we will not be thanked for that either by the electorate or by the community. So it's my hope in the time ahead that as negotiations continue with the Treasury on the way forward, that as the austerity ideologues sit down and take out their pencil and decide what budgets to cut, that our representatives in the Executive will bring to them a united voice, that they will insist that we need the resources to build this society and to provide public services and first-class public services to our people. We are going to continue to work in the interests of ordinary people. We are going to continue to work to create jobs for all our people, to build the economy, and it's my hope that as we emerge from discussions in this chamber and outside the chamber, that we can get a united approach from all of us around this chamber to the British government in the time ahead. And certainly, if we are to say no to anything, Alas Concordia, and I'm someone who likes to say yes, but we're saying no to anything, now is the time to say no to the austerity ideologues and to the English ministers, and to say that we will not accept their mission, their plan to make our institutions untenable and unsustainable, because be sure of this, if they continue to cut in the way they're planning with another $800 million to come out of our budget between now and 2018, they have dealt a hammer blow and a death knell to the institutions that we are all fighting to keep up and to sustain in this part of the world.